You're listening to the We Are Libertarians Podcast Network. Find all of our shows at wearelibertarians.com. You're listening to the We Are Libertarians Network. Learn more at wearelibertarians.com.
Welcome to the Boss Hog of Liberty podcast. This is episode number 389 of East Central's favorite podcast. That's not right. 359. 359. I'm aging myself. I don't know if we'll make it to 389. Jeremiah Morrill today, joined by co-host Zach Burcham, co-host Mason Rottinghouse, and executive video producer interim Sarah Morrill. Sure. And our special guest today is going to be Tim Durham, noted author and a podcast producer, and the Hollywood elite.
Yes,
we are all of those things are what we're describing him as. And if you don't like it, then comment and tell us what we should have called him.
Yeah,
instead.
we just had a meeting in the Hollywood elite. We said, give Chris Pratt another year on top.
That's it. Well, Ryan Reynolds is kind of pissed, but I understand it's a fair decision you guys made. Today's show, we are going to be talking with Tim about his new book, Macbeth for kids, but not really.
We added the but not really.
Yeah. The official term is William Shakespeare's The Tragedy of Macbeth for kids. We're going to talk about that. Try to see how much of his life we can actually unravel and figure out what's real and how this man came to be.
People got mad at me about that recently.
You did a podcast and you dodged the questions, and now I'm like, well, now's the fans' chance to follow up
because it's boring.
I happen to be friends with one person, and then they're friends with other people.
We'll be the judge of that.
Now we're all friends.
And then we're going to wind up with story time from the Indiana State Fair, because those folks were kind enough to accidentally credential this podcast as media, and we showed up and we had ourselves a day. So we're going to talk about that and see what happens. And probably, at least some of us, are going to make a return trip to the fair. This show's about our lives in rural Indiana. We're here to push your boundaries and make you think as individuals. Sometimes we'll provoke you, other times we'll make you laugh, but hopefully you will learn something new. We just did ourselves, 20 minutes or so on Patreon, where we found out what the hell Mason Rottinghouse has been doing for the last 1,000 days. And if you want to know what he was actually doing, you need to subscribe. Patreon.com/BossHogOfLiberty. Last thing you got to do, those that do $50 or more a month to the show to help keep the lights on and the air conditioning on, you get a shout out at the front of every episode. That's John Phillips, Andy Moore Buick, GMC, Fishers, Indiana, and Varsity Sports Corner and Varsity Outfitters here in Newcastle at Lake Reese, the official outfitter of the show. Did the logo here.
What the hell?
Well, I didn't know what size you wore.
I don't have one
It's
either.
changed a little lately, so.
It's true.
Extra small.
We do present Tim at this time with a sticker.
All right.
Thanks for joining us. We've run out of time, but this has been great. All right, let's get into it.
I want to do that to somebody.
We finally got the Penske interview, but it's over. Sorry, Roger. It's done.
To do that to Roger Penske.
You've had, let's start there. You've had some incredible, Forrest Gumpian moments at the track.
Yeah, with him
with
in
Roger
particular.
Penske.
And the thing is, everybody thinks we're exaggerating those. So because there's only 2 elevators in the pagoda.
I don't know. I've never been.
Everybody's trying to leave at the same time, and so you're often in that elevator with people. And that filter that just stops you from saying something really stupid. I don't have that. I just have this little internal voice that's like, it's going to be a really good story. So a couple times, and he has not found it funny once. Every time it's just been a little dumb joke. It was
can't make the man laugh.
No, everybody else around him laughed, but he has not found it the least bit humorous, to the point where I'm shocked that I haven't been banned from the Speedway. I think the only reason I haven't been banned from the Speedway is he has no idea who I am.
I was going to say, are you aware or not if he knows who you are?
I can't imagine he does. Anybody worth that much money? I would be upset if he did know who I was.
And yet the former vice president knew exactly who you were.
Well, he knew the family and stuff. That was my grandpa used to be the president of the city county council in Indianapolis for a very long time, so he'd known him through that. And but yeah, it was odd.
So let's start from the beginning. For those uneducated that aren't in the motorsports world, you are from Indianapolis originally.
Yeah.
Grew up in the best I can tell, you and Willie Griswold knew each other in high school.
Yeah. I went to school with all the Griswolds. Willie was a year behind me. His brother Sam was a year ahead of me, and then Lucy, his sister. Because I don't know if you know this, Tom has 87 children.
A number of kids. It's the way you stay young. You just have a kid every 2 or 3 years.
I mean, it's stretched over farther than that because he has a whole generation that are about our age, and then he also has he had a kid the year I got married, and he has 2 kids that are they're each 6 months older than my children. So his youngest 3 were all born around times that I was having some life event going on.
Yeah.
And so so I'm aware of
And how old's Tom?
I have no
late
idea.
60s, I'm assuming. I mean, he's been on the air since 1984 or
How many
something.
wives?
You don't have to get
just
married
one.
yet.
There's no way.
No,
There's
he's
no
not.
way.
He is not.
Baby moms
This
or
is-
wives?
Oh,
This is
okay. Yeah,
this
baby
is better.
mamas.
Yeah. One of my favorite Bob and Tom quotes ever was Willie on the air one time called him 3 Mom Tom.
He's 71.
71.
By the
Okay.
That's pretty
Well,
good.
I do believe he's
Pretty
only
good.
actually been married the one time.
The more children he has, the better it is for the career of the founder of our network, Chris Spangle, who works over there. And as Tom has mouths to feed, the show continues on. And
And by the way, I love Tom.
Oh yeah, everything I've heard about him, he's a super nice guy, and he's such a nice guy that he actually. I heard an interview one time with people around him, and they said he actually almost needs a handler because he's too nice,
Yeah.
and that he's too giving to people, and that people would probably take advantage of him if given the opportunity. So I've never heard a bad thing about him.
We asked him to come on Off Track when we were doing a live show at Carb Day one year. I think it was our first one. And so we did it through the proper channels, right? We went to Q95 and did it officially. And then Willie was like, why the hell didn't you just DM me or something? And couldn't have been more gracious. Like, okay, how long do you want me there? Bob's kind of not really doing stuff anymore, but he'll come on too. We'll be there. Just couldn't have been more gracious and nice. And afterwards, I was just like, that was so nice. I need to figure out some way to thank the guy, but I don't know what to do in this situation. And Willie's like, I don't know, he likes Starbucks. I just got him a $50 gift card to Starbucks.
got a gift card. And there you go.
That's 2 drinks.
I felt it was weird. I didn't know how to handle that.
So somehow, and we'll get into this later, but somehow you wound up ingrained in the IndyCar world, and you just exist, and you keep Andretti Autosport alive. Andretti Global. And you have developed a relationship with James Hinchcliffe and Alexander Rossi, 2 noted Indy 500 drivers. One's now the TV guy, and the other's still actively racing. But they have a podcast, and you are the producer, or the editor. I guess you've become such big time now. You have assistants too. You're the producer that has people that work for you.
No, we have a partnership with SiriusXM. We're on their network, and then they put us out on the NBC Sports Channel. I think 1:00 on Saturdays. I'm not actually sure on that, but they do have somebody from their team that's just dedicated to us, and they help us cut our online promos. I still cut the actual show, but that's more just because I think you got to be careful with drivers what can come out, what can get said, and that kind of.
You don't want the wrong person editing it, and you know what you're listening.
Anytime I hear the little race car noise, I wonder, what did I miss?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
If you listen to the show, if there's a cut, he'll play a little race car noise. Because I think sometimes you probably can make cuts and we don't even know that they were cuts. But when there is a cut that you can't smooth it, there's like race car noise. I was like, dang it, we missed something good right there.
Well, it's usually not anything. It's not anything bad. Like they're not. These guys are smart. It's just something that, oh, you know what? On second thought, I'm not supposed to say that because that's
news in a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
So I always figure, I don't ever assume it's like some horrendous.
Now you can tell us that Rossi signed with Coin. It's fine. You can break that news with our audience.
If he signed with anybody, he has not told me yet.
It's gonna be. So you're telling me that next year's Coin's lineup is going to be Scott Dixon
and Coin, yeah,
and Dixon. And
I can't.
Rossi.
My whole goal on that ongoing joke of saying that Dixon's going to Coin is I just want to be told off by Emma Dixon. Like I want it to get to them enough that she's mad and will tell me off. It hasn't happened yet, but I'm going to keep it going.
Well, I can lean into it when I'm at Milwaukee. Oh my gosh, I heard the news. Coin.
She's awesome. By the way, I ended up watching the Toronto race with her. She's a blast. She's really fun. But none of my people were there.
Just walking the paddock trying to find somebody to hang out with.
Like, I don't know what to do.
So you go, Rossi breaks his hand and he leaves.
And he's gone.
So you have
And like I was supposed to hang out with Hinch's wife but that weekend, but she had some stuff coming up. Alex's wife obviously wasn't hanging around when she wasn't there. And it was just like most of my usual crew. I was like walking around on the grid, and Colton heard his girlfriend, Riley, was like, "You look like homeless. Like you don't have anywhere to go." I was like, "I guess I'm rooting for you guys this weekend."
Do you have a hat or anything I can wear?
Yeah. It was one of my sadder like race experiences.
At least it was cheap.
I can imagine the whole crew just like disappears. And then Rossi's defense, I was like kind of surprised, but then I think he had his surgery the next day.
Yeah.
Like
he had to get back.
Like he hurt his wrist on Friday and had surgery. And he describes his surgery on the podcast. And they basically just took slits. He broke his thumb and they just drove the screws straight through.
They said they didn't
cut anything open. They just like drilled pilot holes and then ran screws into his thumb. He's like, "Yo, I'm good to go."
Put
he
the
was
bones back together.
Yeah.
Ugh.
I was just like, the thought of that. He's like, "It was really cool." I'm like, that sounds horrible that they just, I couldn't just sit there and watch. He sounded like Dangner just watched him just drive him into his hand. But yeah.
Was he able to fly his own airplane home?
No, he did not. They drove home. Kelly drove. Yeah, I kept getting asked about how he was doing in Toronto, and Alex, as soon as the break happened, he was like, "Yeah, I'm going to be fine by Gateway. It's going to be whatever." But then it's like, I never like to speak on somebody else's behalf.
Yeah.
So
I'm not authorized to have this information. Yeah.
So I just told everybody we had to put him down. If anybody asked. He's off to the glue factory.
Yeah, you
Big
kind of
horse guy.
When you wait for official like releases on stuff like that, and then in the back of everybody's brains, a little bit probably was the Malukas issue, which was supposed to be a relatively minor issue, and like is strung out for half the season. So
well, you never know with any break's going to be different, right? So the way they worded it was, well, it's not good that you broke your thumb, but if you had to break your thumb, this is how we would want it to.
This is the ideal break.
Yeah.
So let's get into the book real quick, because that was the way I tricked you into coming.
No, I was coming here because I saw pictures of the studio and I was like, this is way nicer than what we do. I wanted to come here anyway.
Well, you are more than welcome to rent this out for pennies on nothing. You bring your team here. We will. I bet Zach will show up to produce. I'm not qualified to operate the board over there, but Zach does a fine job. So the book is on display here. It is William Shakespeare's Macbeth for kids.
Yeah, I should have given you a free copy. That was kind of a dick move.
No.
We ordered it before.
I didn't mind buying it either.
I appreciate it.
Also, we
Thank you.
want to support you as a
Yeah,
friend.
we're happy to do it.
Because I need to sell a lot more.
That's what's happening here. Put your
sales hat
QVC hat on.
Man, I kind of want to donate my copy to the local library and see what part of the library they put.
Oh, that is an amazing idea.
It says for kids.
Maybe
I know, that's what I
maybe,
want.
Section.
maybe
Let's
Tim
go.
could autograph it to the children of Henry County, Indiana. We'll send it to the library and then just see what happens.
I just want to see if anybody looks at it enough to actually figure out what section it should belong.
It's been weird explaining it to people. Like it's been,
Yeah.
it's like it's a kid's book. No, not at all.
No.
No, he gets his head cut off.
I mean, well, there's
There's a spoiler.
it looks like one of the hosts from what was the TV show they figured out?
Mythbusters. It
yes.
does look
Yes.
like him. I didn't
Yeah.
realize that.
Yeah, because he's kind of got like
Jamie Heineman.
I was just so tired of drawing Macbeth's hair and he was the next character I did. I was like, he's bald. No, I'm not doing it.
So you wrote this book as legend goes. You were flying to Colombia.
Yeah, I was
To
on
do
a flight
some- to
to
do some-
Cartagena.
to do some debauchery.
Yeah.
With Juan Montoya and the cartel.
No, it was Alexander Rossi's bachelor party, and he decided that he wanted to go to Cartagena for it, which why was my number one question. It's like, it's hot, but at least it's going to cost a lot to get there.
At least it's on another continent.
Yeah. But, I'd never been, so we all go. But
there's a reason why most of us have not been to Colombia, though, by the way, because it doesn't have a great connotation in America.
Well, okay, so Cartagena, we were in Old Town. It was this very touristy place, and this is a little aside, but I'm going to go. I donate platelets and plasma pretty much as often as they'll let me. I have a rare blood type. I'm AB positive. It's like 3% of the population, and they need platelets and plasma in the NICU all the time. So I will go and donate as often as I can. But when you donate, they give the questionnaire about everything, and it's
is that one of the countries on the list?
It's like a hybrid on the list. So it's like they pull up a map of Colombia, and most of it's in red, and there are like 2 little pockets in blue, and they're like, "So where'd you go?" I was like, "Cartagena." They go, "Oh, blue. Okay, yeah, we're good."
Yeah.
I was like, "What if I had gotten an Uber out of town?" then you're out.
How long would you be off the list? Forever?
3 months.
3 months. Okay, that's not horrible.
Yeah.
So I've donated like 8 gallons to Versity. Because I did platelets for a long time.
Yeah.
too.
He gave them my number while he was at it because I still get those calls.
Those
weekly.
questionnaires, man, though.
But yeah, I did the questionnaires, but we do cruises. And it's like, oh, well, you weren't there for more than 24 hours or whatever. So yeah, no big deal. They never care, but you've spent enough time to get in trouble.
So I flew. There's no directs from LA to Cartagena, so I had to fly to Miami, and everybody else was flying through Miami. So I got the red eye, and I got to Miami like 4 hours before everybody. And then Sage Karam showed up about 2 hours later, but still before everybody. So he and I are just posted up at this bar right next to our gate and have a few. And then I'm getting texts from everybody flying in from Indianapolis. They're like, okay, so here's the drink orders. And they have like 40 drinks that I'm going to order.
You're responsible.
So I order all these drinks. They all get there. We take a couple.
Sage is a 10-time Indy 500 starter, so I'm sure
he wasn't.
I'm sure
he wasn't ripping shots.
I'm saying I'm sure he offered his credit card.
Well, okay, so they all show up, and I've now been at this bar for about 4 hours, so I have to go to the bathroom. So I go to the restroom, and by the time I get back, they have all left and stuck me with the bill. So it started off with like a $600 bar tab. And then
you haven't left the country yet.
Yeah, and I've had quite a few, and so yeah, I was on the flight, little inebriated, and had a few more on the plane. And my daughter had just brought home a book from the school library, Macbeth for kids, and I love Macbeth, and I had been reading it recently enough. I was just like, how the hell would it be for kids? Like it's
a story that can't really be adapted.
They kill children. Like, there's literally a part where they murder children. I was like, how would you do that? So I just thought it'd be funny. So I ended up writing it on the flight and looking it up, and it's crazy expensive to get somebody to illustrate a kid's book. So I just learned how to do it.
You just did it yourself.
Myself.
So did you hand draw this, or is it like
I have a little tablet thing, so I draw it on the computer. And yeah, would freehand it and then just do like shapes over it and shade and texture and things like that.
You did a phenomenal job with the illustration.
Thanks, man.
It truly, it's like a South Park style.
That's what everybody says. That wasn't intentional. This is the best I can do.
This is your.
It's got a little more texture than South Park, but
no, but it's
similar style.
It's fantastic.
Did you base any of the characters that you drew in the book off people you knew?
No.
If there were any Canadians, they would be they would be drawn differently.
Other than this one maybe looks like me if I was bald. I don't know. Well, thanks for letting me ramble on that. That was a weird aside.
That's awesome. So you write this in just a couple of hours.
Yeah, and then 6 months to illustrate it. I didn't know what I was doing.
Just learning.
It's a project.
It's like, God, I could do a children's book an hour, but
yeah,
but it's
I now see why they charge
it's $80,000 to draw the book. That's
yeah.
awesome.
And I think the next one I'll be able to do a little faster. But yeah, so we'll see.
Especially if you can just copy and paste some of the characters.
Did you do any drawing before?
No, not really.
So you're like not naturally an artist in that style.
No, I
just picked it up and like I'll figure this out. Because it looks like it is. It's South Park style is kind of thing, but yeah, it's good though. You look at it, you're like, this looks like somebody spent some real time, and it's not like, oh, this is the best they could do. This is the style they wanted to go with, and it seems to match the.
No, this is very much the best I can do. This is
better than I could do.
So I'm not a classically trained
or
schooled person. So my Shakespeare is like Taming of the Shrew and maybe like I don't know what To Kill a Mockingbird. No, what's the Pound of Flesh one? Anybody?
We didn't read any in high school. 0.
Pound of Flesh.
That might have been Taming of the Shrew. Anyway, it doesn't matter. But I'd never read Macbeth, so this was my exposure to it. And then over the weekend, it seems it's perfect. I think it captures the essence of what Bill was doing. So just happened that Sarah and I are going to go to Manhattan, and we're going to figuring out what our first Broadway show is going to be. So I'm immersing myself, trying to understand, hey, what do I want to be? What theater I want to go to? Whatever. What show do I want to see? And it leads me down this rabbit hole where they're talking about what turned into the Astor Place riots, and it was.
Yeah, you just told me about this right before we recorded.
It was there were 2 dueling Macbeth plays on opposite sides of the street from each other.
Yeah.
And the crowds literally fought.
Yeah, it was
like 13
just looking
people
it up.
died.
Edwin Forrest and William Charles Macready were both actors, and there was a riot over who was better at playing Macbeth.
It was like if Chris Pratt and Ryan Reynolds decided to both play Macbeth, and then they had riots over it.
Long-standing feud.
Cool.
Over Macbeth.
They brought in the militia to take care of things.
The Wikipedia is there is like a legitimate like belligerence, commanders, leaders, strength.
It's insane.
There were 141 militia injured, 70 policemen injured, 22 to 31 people were killed, and 48 wounded.
Now they would just tweet at each other. Or something. They would just start a social media beef. Society's changed a little bit.
Also, this is beside the point. Why were there 2 competing?
Somebody thought they could
just
do
get
better.
a different play for across the street.
Well, it was the year it went to fair use, and anybody could do.
That was like the Steamboat
It was back
Willie.
in the
Yeah.
3 Broadway plays, not 500 you could choose from.
Unbelievable. But I was like, man, this is Macbeth has every generation to reinvent it. So now you have potentially caused a riot because there's another Macbeth for Kids book that's out there.
I'm in. Yeah, I didn't know that till after, which is why mine has the really long title on Amazon because they already had Macbeth for Kids, so that's why mine's William Shakespeare's The Tragedy of Macbeth.
Now, did you have like Mario Andretti do the forward or anything?
No.
Oh my god, that would have been
somebody. The guy who does the Murder Hawk Twitter account, he said he wanted to get it signed by James and Alex, but not me. And that's gonna happen. I just haven't seen James since I saw that tweet. Like that's gotta happen.
That is perfect.
He's great, by the way.
Oh, he's hilarious.
Yes.
Yeah,
that's a great.
He's
account.
a good dude.
We'll call him John. He's a fine man.
Taller than you think.
Yes.
We met him in Nashville when we met you. Same day.
I never know. Like. Okay, I know that that's not actually him in the Firehawk suit, but I still can't disassociate it in my head. Like, they are linked.
You try to go up and talk to him about the things he's been tweeting.
Oh man, you've been killing it lately. It's like
I'm in costume. That when the parody Twitter account is more popular than the actual character is, you know things.
Whoever's doing that, though, whoever's actually in the suit does a great job.
Oh yeah, they are wonderful.
That hawk gets into every camera shot,
and I wonder if they like are feeding good shots to the Murder Hawk account. Like they know, like let me do this real quick. I'll get this. I'll stand just like this.
Collusion.
Yeah, like just like I'm just gonna stand here real quick for a minute before I get like into what I'm supposed to be doing because the pictures are fantastic that they get of this Firestone Firehawk looking like he's just about to like pull a knife out on somebody. There's some great social media accounts out there.
I now want to get to the bottom of who the hell Tim Durham is. You got into the IndyCar world through what? Because the other legend that was brought to us is that you introduced Marco Andretti to
Ludicrous.
No, that's not.
That is the story that's out there.
No,
and obviously you're the Mr. LA, so it checks out.
No,
you guys probably go to the same Ralph's grocery store.
No, that would be funnier. I should claim that, but no. I met Marco in 2006, 2007. When was it when he hit the first turn wall, the first lap?
He almost 2006. He finished second.
Yes, so it
Famously.
would have been 07. Then.
Okay.
Because we ended up just being at the same party the night after the race, and he was not in the best of moods and rolled in, and I said, "You look like you could use a drink." And so I poured 2 shots, and I just raised up the glass. And I said, "Here's the first turn wall." And his friends all looked at me like, "Are we gonna have to kick this kid out?" like, what's going on? But Marco luckily thought it was hilarious, and he and I have been friends ever since. So it's just been like a long road into IndyCar through that. I never really followed racing when I was a kid here. We'd go to the 500 just because it's what you would do. But it was just being on Marco's guest list and bringing girls that I was trying to impress to races. After enough years, I was like, I'm actually starting to pay attention.
Starting to actually know.
Starting to see who's doing well here. And then became friends with James through that. And then especially after his accident, started hanging out with him more. I felt like I had overstayed my welcome at Andretti Hospitality enough. So I told the team, I was like, hey, I did go to film school. If you guys need me to do some videos or anything like that, I'm happy to do that.
This is where you got the body double job.
Well, no, this was before that. So Alex had just come over in 2016. And when I was down in Phoenix when they were doing tests, doing interviews and other videos just for their social media. And I came up with this dumb little sketch thing for Rossi to do. It's where it's just a video behind a car in an empty lot at a track. And you see him, he walks up, he gets into the passenger side seat of the car, shuts the door, opens it, gets out, walks around, gets in the driver's side and drives away. And it just says, "Welcome back to America, Alexander." And it was just like this little dumb thing, but nobody at the time knew Alex.
He
team.
Yeah.
So everyone's like, "Ooh, yeah, that's funny. I don't know if we can pitch him on that." So I actually had to go to Connor to see, because Connor knew him from racing in Europe, to see if it would be okay to take that joke to Alex. And he was like, "Yeah, he'd think that's funny." And so we did that and ended up just getting along and been friends with him. So when this podcast opportunity came up, this company Castbox wanted to launch their own produced podcasts. I had a friend there and he said, "Hey, you got any ideas?" And I go, "Well, I know Marco doesn't want to do a podcast, but maybe these two." Castbox, we're no longer with them. And it's been I don't even know when we started. It's been a long time, though fewer episodes than you.
I feel like you guys took a break for a while. Did you have a gap?
When we weren't with anybody,
Right.
we would just kind of do it when we wanted to.
Yeah.
So we'd take some time off. Now that we're with SiriusXM,
You guys are more
Which-
dedicated than we are. You're catching us.
I love being with SiriusXM, by the way. They're awesome. They turn out the great content for us for the ads, and they're really helping push us behind the scenes. But yeah, I do miss just being able to be like, "Hey, I don't really feel like doing it this month. You guys cool if we just stop?"
So this podcast has existed since 2017 and started around a table in my house. And then we made it about 10 episodes. Co-host Dakota said, I want a podcast studio at my house because he was not married yet. So we took a spare bedroom, turned it into a podcast studio for him. And that lasted until he got married.
Well,
A little after
until
he
they
got
had the
married.
baby.
And they were like,
That can get in the way of things.
We were interviewing like people running for U.S. Congress, and they were hanging out in his living room as the green room and going upstairs. And at some point, it just became like, we need a place of our own. So we moved here in 2018. And we were actually next door to Zach. Zach just happened. This podcast just literally was next
Across
door to
the
his
street
house.
from me. Yeah.
So he would see the comings and goings, going, "What in the hell are these people doing?" And listening and watching.
There would be like the big guy pull up and like have his truck with his huge whatever for Congress sign propped up in the back of his truck, just driving around. It was like, this is weird.
It's the weirdest drug dealer I've ever seen. So how would you describe it? I know you said there's a political element to it, and then obviously you cover a lot of the racing stuff. If somebody got you in the elevator and said, so what's your podcast about?
It is a local interest show.
Local interest show.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
I like that.
We narrowcast to Newcastle, Henry County, Indiana, but we have listeners all over the country.
Okay.
Talk about local issues, things that happen here, and we have almost spoken to people and made them characters in the community, almost like Mayberry, where people have come on, they're a part of the show, they understand. We talk about real issues, but we don't take ourselves too seriously. There's a little bit of an irreverence to it. And through COVID, we accidentally became like the only place to have real information come out, where people couldn't gather. So all of a sudden, like this became the place where conversations were happening. In the 2020 election, we were the only place some debates happened, which was wild, but we did it.
I'm terrified to talk about politics in public. Like, it's just
Well, the nice thing is, for the most part, we just do the local stuff. So, like, if city races, we have as many of the candidates we can get through there as possible, and city stuff for the most part. Now we have some third rails. Wind has been one. Wind farms, but for the most part, like the national stuff is like it's its own dumpster fire theater.
yeah.
And then local stuff is like, oh, you don't really want to trash talk somebody too badly, because like you'll see, like we had a local fair over the weekend. I went to dinner there, and there's like a tent, and a different volunteer group serves the food every night, and it was all the Republicans.
Mhm.
And so like all these people we've had through were all serving me for food and stuff. So people, and we never do like the gotcha thing.
Yeah.
Like I'll joke that the only thing that Jeremiah will do is if somebody says something really stupid, and sometimes people say stuff real stupid, he'll just ask him to repeat it. So we got it on the record.
Just make sure you really meant
He's like,
that.
so is this what? Yeah, and they're like, yeah, and then okay, then we just move on. So everybody that's listening is like, okay, and so yeah. But other than that, we
So
don't. Like,
if you
gotcha.
ask me to repeat anything, now I know.
Giving away our trips.
Well, I mean, but yeah, the people,
Because I always tell the guys, like, because we never really talk about politics. I'm just like, the only time anybody's going to care about your politics as an athlete is if they vehemently disagree with you.
yeah, there's no upside for them to talk about any of that stuff, because like I could probably guess, but I'm like, you know what they don't want to talk about? I don't want to hear about it. I don't care about their politics as a driver or anything. So I just like all the other stuff is fine. Like I love to hear all the more off the rails your guys' episodes get, especially the travel stuff, is hilarious. Like
I think we've talked about public bathrooms too much over the last month. I think Hinch has been on one about that.
yeah.
I listen every week, and
Sorry.
I empathize. You guys use the gasket a lot more than I would have expected. Like you just implied that everybody's using an ass gasket when they go to a public bathroom, and I feel like that's a stretch. I don't know that everybody does that.
Wait, that's a thing?
Yeah. Have you noticed when you go to a public bathroom and there's a little
It's like the tissue paper
yeah,
you
the
pull
paper
out.
thing. You don't use the paper thing?
No.
You guys just raw dogging it.
That's
out
the
there.
thing. The hole in that thing is only like this big around. And
Okay, but how big's the hole in you? Because like, it just needs to be bigger than one hole.
But that's the thing. It's like, are you supposed to tear that completely off? Or are you supposed to let it hang like while
I
you're...
just tear it off. Yeah,
I'm a guy like...
I think we might go to the bathroom differently.
I mean, I'd get a paper towel, and if there's hand sanitizer, I slap it on there and wipe the seat down.
that feels like more of an effort.
It feels like more sanitary than those little paper things.
I mean, it's
I mean,
good enough for a hospital bed, right?
Yeah. I mean, Hinch did describe a scenario, and it's uncomfortable. Was when you sit down and the seat's still warm
Yeah.
from the last person,
Yeah,
and that is
nobody likes that.
disconcerting. Well, he was talking about he was tired of running to bathrooms that were full, so he's just like, I'm just going to sit. I think anybody that's been to a race or any event has been in that situation where just like you walk in and you're, well I'm just going to stand because there's nowhere.
I would rather die than have to do a major transaction during the Indy 500 in the
Oh no,
infield or turn
restroom?
3. I would rather
Well,
it's just not happening.
those restrooms aren't the greatest, and it's always 90 during the 500. So it's
I can
probably
remember
just,
when they didn't have doors on the
probably
stalls.
just like sitting there and letting it all go. It's to the point where if you're our size, you just take your shirt off and sit there and just sweat. And yeah,
So hang on. We're not putting the protective layer on the toilet,
Taking your
but we're
shirt off.
removing more clothes than necessary.
well,
Just go
I'll
George
just-
Costanza and get
I'll
fully
tell
nude. in the
you what.
bathroom.
I'll tell you what. This is a little sidetrack, but this weekend
little?
in Houston was 110 degrees heat index. Okay, and I had my Columbia on and shorts like this. A nice
Okay.
light outfit. Still hotter than shit. Doesn't matter. And I had to make some transactions, and every time it's
I've
like,
never heard it called that, by the way, but I like
And-
that.
And by the
Deposits?
time
Yeah,
I
a
even
that.
a deposit or a major or minor transaction
Yeah.
is how I describe it.
by the time you get
Okay.
your first quarter of the way, you're sitting there in that heat in a unair conditioned building, and it's like it'd just be better if I take my shirt off. So I mean,
Okay.
I
I'm
have
sitting
never-
here.
Learn
And
something
I
new
have
every
never
day.
had to remove a shirt for that.
It was bad.
Ever.
It was hot. It was like, honestly, like if I would have took a wet rag and put it on my head and squeezed it, that's what it looked like. It was bad.
Add more to the equation.
It was bad. I'm just,
how'd you wet the
I
rag?
don't want to leave the details out.
Under adverse conditions, he just goes to Cartagena and writes a bestseller, Macbeth for Kids, available on Amazon.
Sold out on the first run.
Kinda.
So the day job, in addition to the off track with Hinch and Rossi, which I'm sure pays probably half the rent, but not everything. You are the big Hollywood mogul. And
let's go with that.
The first thing that I asked you about when we met the very first time was that your IMDb says that you were involved with the Atlas Shrugged movie, which this podcast originates on the Wall Network, the We Are Libertarians podcast network, and Atlas Shrugged was from the Liberty movement. It's like they're the big deal. So how? This is what I'm always not any of the other stuff.
It's
he's
fair.
the Atlas Shrugged guy. So
I was very low on that totem.
Did you write the movie?
No. No, I was in college. It was a summer job. I was just a production assistant on that. I had worked with guy Chris Corrado and Anderson Villian. They were the assistant directors on that movie. And I had worked with them on a movie the summer prior, so they were staffing up and needed somebody. But I gotta tell you, I haven't seen the movie. I'm in the credits.
I thought the movie was good, not great, good enough.
Paul Johansson directed it. I thought he did a really good. I just ran into him at a bar like 2 months ago.
Is that a normal Hollywood thing?
Yeah,
they made like 2 or 3. That's when they decided that this was the year for Chris Pratt. The second and third sequel were completely a new cast.
New cast, new director. Well, they didn't. I'll say that was a contentious set. There was I'm probably speaking out of turn, but yeah, there was
the statute of limitations has passed. It's probably fine.
There was a lot of tension between the producers and the director, between the director and some of the actors. I'm trying to figure out my joke on set, and I'm going to pre-apologize. I'm going to say a bad word if that's okay.
It's after 8.
Oh, you're good. You can say it.
We didn't make Atlas Shrugged. Atlas Shrugged was clusterfucked into existence. Like that movie was
multiple people trying to make this not happen, and we're just like, we're going to get this done.
Yeah, there was I had to get a tetanus shot because I cut my leg on some like rusty bit of metal in the middle of the desert near Piru, California. We were shooting at this one mansion and stuff was just falling apart. It was like people were just yelling at everybody. It was weird. I still had a blast though. Like anytime you're on a movie set, there's still like the 10-year-old in you that's just like, I'm making a movie.
So that was you as a production assistant. What do you do out there now? Because obviously there's a big emergency on Thursday last week that led us to reschedule.
Yeah, sorry about that.
But don't stop apologizing. It's truly fine. What you do script writing now?
Yeah, I'm screenwriting now is the day job, and so it's a lot of different things are in development. So you'll just get a call to be like, hey, we need to switch this character to this by Friday because this actor is not in, but we're trying to get this actor in, or hey, it turns out this place has a much better tax incentive than we were going to go. So and rather than setting this in Kentucky, can it be Puerto Rico? And it's like, sure, that's an easy change.
Not a problem.
That sounds so frustrating.
Quickly edit up. Oh,
yeah. It was one of those calls where I think this one on Thursday was specifically a hey, we have to change the location and it's got to be, we can make it in New York, but we're going to have to shoot it in Eastern Europe. So we got to figure out a way to not really use any actual landmarks in New York.
So this is like a screenplay is done.
Yeah, they're never actually done.
I know, but like it's a potentially complete piece, and then you're having to go through and change something and find every instance in which contextually something needs to change.
Yeah,
and that sounds like finding a dozen needles in a haystack and having to find each and every one of them.
It's not just a Control F change.
No,
so you don't actually end up with a dwict.
Yeah, the office. Yeah. Yeah, so that's mainly what I've been doing is rewriting other people's stuff. I have a few projects of my own where I'm writing it and trying to get them to go, but everything's pretty slow. We just had that giant strike, and so the industry's kind of coming back after COVID, and then the writers and actors strike, and there was that IATSE was going to strike, but now it looks like they're not going to. So we're slowly coming back.
I can't wait for the movie rights to Macbeth for kids to come out.
William Shakespeare's A Tragedy of Macbeth.
You know, if you want to see how it compares, they have that Apple Plus version with Denzel Washington. It's actually really solid.
Was just pitching somebody else's movie. So what kind of stuff, if our audience is interested in things that you've actually been involved with other than
Nothing good.
Ayn
Man,
Rand.
Atlas Shrugged is not,
Well,
I've heard. I've actually not seen it.
You probably don't want to eat the sausage after you watched.
I love that he's never seen it.
No, that's actually. I'm in the credits on 3 movies that I haven't seen. It was Atlas Shrugged, After Earth, the one with Will Smith and Jaden Smith, and then Columbus Circle was the first movie I worked on. It was a very low budget thing, but it had like Kevin Pollak and Jason Lee and Selma Blair and Amy Smart, and never seen it.
Jerry, we have to watch that now because we were just watching Kevin Pollak.
We did just watch Casino.
It's fun that him bringing up the movie in your response as if, like, for Bob and Tom people, it reminds me of Bobcat Goldthwait was on one time, and Tom brought up a movie, and he's like, "Oh, thanks for bringing up my porn pass." He's like, "That movie put me in Hollywood jail for like 10 years."
Yeah, there's a lot of that. Well, there's a lot that goes into making a movie that, and not a lot has to go wrong for the movie to not be good, right? but there can still be 5,000 other things that went right. And it's just like
For it to
one
even get
thing.
that far.
Yeah. So I'm sure they're not actually bad, but it's just like, I don't know. I saw how it got made. I don't really want to see it. I don't know. It's weird.
Well, how many people are like that? Because I can imagine that's something that's not that uncommon, is to spend a bunch of time, and at least in your eye, you have some idea of how it turned out, but you don't actually want to know, because you know that, I'm assuming that from what gets filmed to what comes out into a theater, you really have no idea what happens in between there, and it could be vastly different.
Well, and it's not like I was on the
Yeah,
creative side of any of
but
that,
like-
right? Like, I was
Yeah.
like, somebody's like, that movie was good. It's like, well, did you see how there were extras in the background? Because that was my job.
I lined those people up and said, "Turn that way."
Yeah. I bet you know what really came through in that movie is how the camera department all had their walkie-talkies. Yeah. that was my
All
job.
charged up.
Yeah. So that's, I don't know, it's a weird thing being on the bottom end of a totem pole on stuff like that. You just never know how it's going to turn out.
It's interesting. It's fascinating to those of us that, live nowhere close to a movie set. I did accidentally get involved. I've been involved in so many stupid things, Tim. Somebody asked for my house to be used for the lowest budget home movie that was ever made. We have some local films. I don't think Sarah and I were together yet.
No.
And there was the city of Newcastle got involved and volunteered some ambulances. So somebody got murdered in my in my living room, and then somebody was found dead in my garage, and then an ambulance picked up. None of my neighbors were alerted to any of this happening. so when the ambulance is leaving, they're all quite concerned.
And there's people that look sad outside too.
Yeah. Oh yeah. There were mourners.
All
The
actors.
whole thing. Standing in my front yard. And I think none of that actually made the cut of the film. The movie was all of 22 minutes long and only went out on YouTube.
Is
But
it still there?
yeah, it's Smoke and Mirror, something like that. And there was a bunch of stuff that was filmed inside of our kitchen as well that took like 3 or 4 hours. They couldn't make any of it work. They did the entire thing.
So
I just suggest.
oh wait, what did you say?
No, it's a touchy subject. Just don't move the pool table next time.
That was
a different movie.
Yeah, that's
set.
the other Moore
Different
Brothers
home.
house when they
I know.
some other folks he got tricked the same way.
So I've got to figure out a way to talk around some stuff in this story, but I got hired to rewrite a movie years ago. It was this ultra low budget slasher thing, or just gory kind of action. Didn't love it, but it had this huge A-list actor attached that had written the script, and then I was going to come in and rewrite, and it would be both of us credited. And it was not good. And I remember I came on and it was a full page one rewrite, and they had the outline that the actor wanted, and I was like, yeah, I have this idea we could try to incorporate. Weirdly enough, I think it was Macbeth. I was like, we could incorporate this and try and do this with the character. I was like, yeah, he doesn't want any of that, just do exactly what's on here. So got the script done. I was like, well, at least I'm not getting sole credit. Maybe I won't even get credit on this.
You were going to ask us like, you don't have to put my name on this.
I was kind of like, I was like, you don't have to put my name on it. So they were filming in Hamilton, Ohio, and
as most major films are done.
And we were like, hey, the opening scene's going to have this A-list actor in it, and there's some parts for some people that could be really small. Let's go do it. So it was me, Connor, and Hinch. We drove to Hamilton, Ohio to go do this scene. Cool. We get there after the movie films, before it comes out. That actor gets in a lot of trouble, and they cut him from the movie. They cut his credit from written by. They cut the scene with us in it, and now I have sole writing credit. My only sole credit on a movie that's out. On not a great movie.
Blockbuster hit.
Which you had no creative
control.
Like tried and was shot down.
Yep, it's an all-female biker gang.
Wild Hogs too. No.
Noted biker enthusiast.
And our cameo is not in it. so we wasted a trip out to Cincinnati for that.
I don't know why you don't love this industry more.
Well, I mean, like, I can't remember even what podcast I listen to. Like, I've listened a bunch of the time, but yeah, from when something becomes a concept to making a movie, it sounds like the most horribly frustrating time, because there's a whole bunch of guys who'll just be like, no, and it's dead. And so by the time it gets to that point, you
need a million yeses.
Yeah,
no.
Yeah, and any one of the no's is just, it's done. And sometimes it's months and years to get stuff pushed through. And some stuff will get really optimistic, and then it just dies.
Yeah,
somewhere.
I stopped telling people when I've signed contracts or a project's supposed to go, because it's just like, it's not like, it doesn't matter what you sign.
How
it's
in the
like
hell
racing.
do you exist, man? I don't know. I legitimately am like, this is why everybody's a waiter. Like it's everything's like the plates are just spinning the entire time.
Yeah, and yeah, that's why everybody's a waiter. That's why I have a podcast. That's why they pay me the medium bucks.
That's why we need to buy Macbeth.
That's why I need everybody to buy 30 of these. Because I was not good at economics when I figured out how to do this.
Art school at film school at USC.
Yeah,
one of those lettered schools. It's Big Ten. Welcome to the Big Ten.
Yeah, that makes sense. You know, USC. We are a natural fit in the Big Ten.
Now Rutgers and IU can come play right in front of you there.
My favorite meme or little videos. It's a clip from The Simple Life with Paris Hilton and Nicole Richie, and they're sitting at a table asking about like, oh, don't you guys go to Walmart for fun? And it's like, that's USC asking the question. And they're all like looking around like, I guess. And so it's just like, oh yeah, welcome to the Big Ten. Totally nothing in common. It's fine.
Yeah, except money. Everybody likes money. And the Big Ten has it. And the Pac-12 didn't.
No longer.
So let's talk about the Indiana State Fair for a minute, because we owe it to those folks, because I think we stole 46 of their dollars between the parking and the admission over the weekend. Tim, you've been a State Fair guy, I'm sure. Yeah, you've been out there. I don't know if
I haven't been out there this year. I'm going to go this week.
Many years. I'm sure you've had the chance to go. Zach, you got to go with your family.
Yeah,
we never saw each other. We texted a couple times. No, I was trying to accidentally arrange a meeting.
I was 150 yards ahead of you.
You were deftly dodging me all week.
Well, I had a group of people. I had a mom in a scooter that was trying to vehicularly manslaughter somebody.
She rent a scooter and just start trying to
run people down.
You have scooter privilege?
Yeah.
I heard the handles were confusing.
Something happened, and then one of my sons tried to rig it up so her cane was like hook. It had like one of those wrist cords. He tried to rig it so that she could, instead of using the switch on the handle, she could just use her cane to operate. We're like, this is not happening. It was, no.
It'd be tough for the first time you ever use like a motorized scooter. I don't know if she has or not, but like when your first times, if you don't do it every day in a crowd, that they stopped running
They
like
stopped
the
running
shuttle.
They stopped running the trains.
There were
There's
so many people at the state fair that they filled the infield and they stopped running the shuttle.
Yeah.
There were folks everywhere.
We never got to do our lap.
I know, neither do
on
we.
the-
We
on
were
the
kind of
shuttle.
talking about
We
it. Like,
walked
oh, we
it on
might.
foot.
We
and,
did.
And then I walked past the guy who was on a golf cart, and I heard him say something about due to like population density or something like that. I didn't hear the rest of the sentence. And my niece and nephew were getting a ride, or my nephew and his girlfriend were getting a ride on the tram. And they texted us. They said, yeah, they're about to shut the trams down because it's too. And I was actually thankful.
Yeah.
Because if people don't know, the state fairs, you can walk a lap of the horse track, and you're walking around, and every like 30 to 45 seconds, everybody's ducking and diving because these trams are going by, and the trams are being driven by like not quite the biggest agricultural tractor you can get your hands on, but real close. Like they're big tractors. And they've got like these bars that kind of kick you out of the way. And so like, so yeah, but it was nice after they pulled them to not have to worry about, we have to dive to a curb or something like that every 2 minutes.
Yeah, we kept later in the day we were in line for the dairy bar and had to like kept scrambling. The line for the dairy bar was so long that it was into where the tram needed to operate, so we would have to scatter to not get run over.
That was our only traditional thing we did not do because the line looked insane.
It was
when we went by.
I
It was
think we were
incredible.
in line for almost an hour.
Yeah, that's why I kind of looked at it and it's like, you know what, that looks worse than normal. And normal would be like 30 minutes.
Normally it goes pretty quick. This was like I felt like we chose the wrong line. So we never saw you. Sarah and I said, hey, well, let's go. And your parents came, so I got to spend the day with my in-laws. Now this will be fun and easy and efficient. And we're parking, and Sarah had just happened to do a Snapchat, and Chris Wheeler, the strategist for Kyffin Simpson on the
I love
4 car.
Chris Wheeler.
He's a Boss Hog alum who's back with us in December. He's like,
Long-time friend of the Potter.
I'll see you in no time. And I'm like, okay, cool. And he shows up and he's like, I got Kyffin Simpson is coming too. I'm like, really? Okay. So it turned into, and then there was another Ganassi PR guy named Josh who was with him. And we essentially had the 7 of us just wandering the fair together, and it turned into a guided tour. So Zach, last week you were talking about Robin Miller and how he used to do these. I just kept thinking of your comment of like Robin Miller would take these IndyCar drivers to the state fair. For the first time.
Take him to the state fair, and he'd
Right.
also take him to like Mug and Bun, and he'd love to take Europeans and make them eat the most outlandish American foods possible, which would be like state fair food. So yeah.
So we had Kyffin Simpson, who's 19 years old and a lovely person. He is not at all wearing any IndyCar. He's just a black t-shirt, just chill.
Same
there
outfit
to
as
chill.
Tim.
Yeah, he dressed
Pretty
exactly.
much.
You could be his body double.
I borrowed it from him.
He was a good sport. Never got recognized a single time. Wheeler got recognized about 5 times throughout the day. Kyffin had total anonymity. It was amazing for him. But yeah, we stopped and he did the dairy bar line with us. I think he got a bison burger. He refused the saltwater taffy, even though Sarah's mother tried to force feed it to him. She offered it like 4 times, and then she finally went to go buy it. And I said, you got to be strong. But when she left, I was like, you cannot just tell her no. And it worked out fine.
Was that his first state fair?
Yeah, we got to be
He's
part
from
of
the Cayman
Kyffin's
Islands.
first state fair experience.
His first fair.
Well,
I bet
we had-
so, yeah.
Is it Agri Weekend? Is that what he called it? Or there's something similar, but much
There's like an
smaller
Agri Day or something in
Barbados.
In Barbados that he talked about because his mother had seen Wheeler's Snapchat or Instagram story for the day and was like, it's just like that. And he's like, no, it's so much bigger. Yeah. And then we looked at all the animals, so I got to give a tour of all of them.
Got to do that.
And I was like, we went through the goat barn. I grew up showing dairy goats.
Okay.
Once again, with this weird existence of mine. So I'm giving the tour and I'm like, don't touch that one because it was a buck goat. You know what they're intact, full size, just
he
monsters.
Was thick.
But they have a smell that will be with you all day. If you try to pet them, you will.
Got it.
It's coming home with you. So we saved that drama. Saw some big horses. It was a good day at the fair.
You skipped most of the animals. We went in the swine barn, which
Saw
is air conditioned. No world's largest anything in there. Just a couple moms with the piglets.
They've redone the swine barn.
It's air conditioned. It's delightful.
Okay.
It's all
I think
brand
they air
new.
conditioned, and you know better than me. I think they dropped the floor.
So there used to be a basement. So back in my day, it was a 2-story building, and the basement is where they shoved us goat showers. So we used to be penned down there.
So
and
they
then
just
there
took
was
the floor out, the
they took
top
the-
floor,
yeah,
and so
they-
it drops down. There's like an outer walkway for 3 sides of it, I think.
It's 2 sides, yeah.
And then it drops down, and it's air conditioned. It's nice. We were just kind of in and out. My kids evidently, I think it's more my wife than my kids. Were traumatized years ago by kids, 4-H kids, thinking it was fun to get like kind of realistic looking spiders on strings, throw them over the rafters, and then drop them in front of us tourists as we rolled through, and scared the bejesus out of somebody in my family. So we just don't do the animal. And my niece wasn't with us, so we didn't go through the horse barn, because usually you said it's draft horse weekend, so there's a bunch of draft horses in the one building usually.
That was it. They had Newsboys out there, which I wasn't sure. I hadn't thought of news. You know the band Newsboys. I hadn't heard of them since like 2000, so it makes sense
Since
they
the
went on free
movie.
stage. The
God's
movie.
Not Dead. They were all over that movie. Both of them, I think.
There was one fan there like 7 hours. He was like the Luke Combs super fan of the group
for the Newsboys.
for the Newsboys, wearing his Newsboys T-shirt or whatever. And I'm like, you're dedicated, sir. Where did you find that?
I mean, he's actually had something to do while waiting, because I'm sure he didn't have to beat anybody in line.
I don't know. There were like some picnic table or like people covered picnic tables with like a tablecloth and chairs. And I was kind of mad about it because I was like, it's lunchtime.
You
This thing isn't until 7.
should have just moved him out of the way.
And it was like in the shady spot. It was really nice.
I can't tell you the last time I've been to the state fair, to be honest with you.
I love the fair.
We go every year
It's a
now,
good time.
and
When
we
flew in on Sunday. We saw it.
did the
but-
full day Saturday at the Moreland Free Fair, which
Oh,
is our
geez.
closest thing to a kind of
That's the Moreland State Fair.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is. It's and people might hate it. I love the Moreland Fair, and so we were there all. We went ran the 5K in the morning, left, came home, and then pretty much came back, hit the car show, and then was at the fair from 1:00 until sunset. My kids kind of tapped out during the wristbands. They were over it.
Well, what day was that? Saturday?
Saturday,
So
yeah.
I'd say, because I saw you there Wednesday.
Yeah, I was Wednesday, and then Thursday I was here, and then Friday, Saturday there, and then State Fair on Sunday.
I had to go get the annual beans, the bean tent.
The ham
so
and bean tent.
$11, I can eat a lot of food. So
Do you ever go to the fair and think, how much can I buy for $11?
I don't know, man. I've never gone to the fair and eaten healthy.
$11
I know
at
that.
the
we
state
have-
fair.
Moreland is this interesting thing. It's a little town out that's probably, I don't know how many people are in
I
Moreland.
don't know, 300 people.
Yeah,
And
but they host the
2,500 on
fair,
day.
and it's kind of like we have 2 fairs in the county. Newcastle itself doesn't really have. They have a 4-H county fair, but it is not a traditional fair.
It's
They're not rides
just
and stuff like
4-H.
that. It's just for 4-H.
4-H.
So we don't really have a true county fair. What we do is we have Middletown, which is one town in northwest Indiana or Henry County. They have kind of the beginning of the summer fair. And then Moreland has, which is northeast county, they have another one at the end of the summer.
Why are you counting out Knightstown's Jubilee days?
It's a festival.
It's a festival.
There's a Ferris
Um,
wheel.
Yeah, but like the number of people who show up to the Moreland Free Fair is pretty impressive. They have truck pulls and all that other fun stuff.
brings
food
out
is
the
good. The
best.
food is good. The people watching spectacular. And they have an elephant ears. And elephant ears are the doughs made by a bakery out of Muncie. And then a couple years ago, they started just chopping the dough up and deep frying it without really spreading it out and just
Bites.
making bites. And the bites are where it's at.
Yes, they're 10 times better.
And a friend of mine is who invented that because he was the band director. And he's like, we were just cutting them up in the back just for fun. And we're like, these are good. So we just started selling them. So yeah, I always get an order of those.
Yep.
I feel like every year I get excited about getting one of those big ass turkey legs, and then every year I'm disappointed because it smells so much better than it tastes.
And then you get a
and
giant
then I
turkey
forget
leg.
it by the next year, and I do it again.
Do it again.
Yeah.
So Sarah and I, we were whatever, we spend whatever it's going to be, but I got in line. I'm like, I'm gonna get tacos. There was a taco truck, and Sarah was going to get Saudi Bobby, which is like
Marinated pork on a
marinated
stick.
chicken or pork or whatever.
Yeah.
And I walk over to the taco truck, and it's like 3 tacos for $17. I'm like, I'm not paying $17 for 3 tacos. So I just went to the line with her. Like, what do you want to split? We can just get more different things to sample. So we did the Saudi Bobby thing, and then
And their little egg rolls that they had.
Yep, and their mini egg rolls, and then we did at the Dairy Bar. That place is cheap comparatively to
It
everything
is,
else.
yeah.
Everything's like $5 or less.
Yeah,
Pretty
So
much.
That was a deal. Got the hot mess, their cheese sandwich, which had like 3 different cheeses on it. Yeah, it was-
I heard if you're gonna go and you're a foodie to the state fair, you gotta go on $2 Tuesday.
I heard the crowd was unbelievable there. Like the hot pickled pizza or whatever was there. That we saw that.
Pickle Dr. Pepper was another big thing.
Yeah.
Zero interest.
Was that
some of the-
was that a theme this year? It went from
There were a
deep
lot of
fried
pickle items.
Pickles.
butter to
A lot of pickle
Yeah.
things
I
just
this year.
pickles?
We always just do. I do the pork tent. I always go to the pork tent and get like a pork.
I don't even
burger.
know what's there anymore.
I usually get a ribeye steak sandwich is like my go-to. And then this year I really wanted a corn dog, but then I didn't get it. And so I'm like, well, we're going back. It's fine.
Oh, we had a meltdown
Probably.
with one of my kids because he saw a pizza corn dog
Oh.
somewhere, and he's like, "I want that for lunch." I'm like, "No, where's it at?" It's back there. It was half a lap around the track. I'm like, "No, you're getting chicken tenders and fries, and you're gonna like it." And he ate them for dinner that night after we brought them home.
You're a noted father. Is there a strategy when you bring your daughter to the fair? Is like what we're
My daughter's a vegetarian.
Oh.
There was a vegan food truck at our fair this year.
no line.
No line.
No line. Yeah.
So she would have been really happy.
So, yeah, I take her camping all the time because we do this astronomy stuff. And so she was in first grade. Her first grade had just ended, and I was picking her up from her mom's place. And I had the car full of everything, and I had the cooler with like steak, ground beef, all this stuff to cook on the fire. She's like, "Dad, guess what? I'm a vegetarian." I was like,
no.
"Can you be one Monday?" There's a lot of meat in that cooler. But yeah, she stuck to it. So
She just decided to be a vegetarian.
How long's that been? How old is she now?
4 years. Yeah.
Good for her.
At that
Sounds
young
like
of
it
an
might
age,
stick.
that's impressive.
Yeah.
I would absolutely probably die.
Yeah, I have to occasionally remind her, this is your choice, not mine. I'm still having burgers.
I've got a weird
I'll make you a
thing
veggie
that
burger.
Yeah.
I buy like smoked sausage by like just multiple pounds because
That's
don't
the
know.
least weird thing I've learned about you today.
I mean we go to Walmart and take two of the big,
Finally, somebody said it.
the large.
We didn't feel safe, but
Like people,
Jim calls in. He's a truth teller.
people buy beef and ground beef and chop it up and freeze it. I'm like putting 2 smoked sausages and freezing them.
I can't even think the last time I had smoked sausage.
I don't
Oh.
even know if you have to preserve a smoked sausage. Can't you just leave it on
One
the
of
counter until
first,
Christmas?
when Rain first moved in, one of the first meals I made her was fried smoked sausage and mac and cheese.
He's talking about like in the refrigerator case smoked sausage, not
Yes.
like summer sausage.
Not summer sausage, just smoked sausage. And she was like, "I'm not eating this shit. I'm not eating this." I'm like, "This is a
This is what I
delicacy.
make."
This is it.
Spiceland's finest.
This is it."
This is a Friday.
I said, "I
night
learned
meal.
this at Golden Pebble Estates, and
Which is that a trailer park?
double wide." Yep. But and then yeah, I don't eat spaghetti, but because I've ate so much spaghetti in my life growing up in a trailer park.
What's the biggest change between Indiana and LA food? Like for you, because you get to experience both worlds.
The price.
All right.
Now, so,
You can't get a good acai bowl here.
I don't think I've ever had one of those.
Can't get a good
It's
dinner
acai
one there.
here. It's
you,
not.
you can kind of get whatever the hell you want. There's just so many people. There's so many options. So I don't know. It's like I go to a bar to hang out with my friends called Barney's Beanery. It's in West Hollywood, and it would look like the Broderville Tavern when you go in, right? So you can go find those places. You don't have to go to you don't have to go to Boa, the steakhouse on Sunset, or you don't have to go to Beverly Hills. You can just go to a dive bar.
But it's got the California price.
It does have the California price.
I mean, what's a well there? Just it's not a $3 well, is it?
No, it'd be on the low end, probably $12, probably
So
closer to
that's
18.
a Nashville well.
Yeah.
That's a
Probably closer to 18. That's why you go to the same bar over and over again and know the bartenders. And then, you get a little help.
Get taken care of.
yeah. You can get a pretty tipsy at the Elks for $20.
Yeah. Boy, is an Oak Club membership coming clutch.
It's
Sarah and I can go have dinner and drinks all night where it's like $38.
yeah
Yeah,
great.
We're good to go.
$3 drafts. It's nice.
That's 2 drinks or like a drink and a half.
At one
Manhattan.
point, doubles for whiskey were like
Yeah, I mean, you're about to
$3.50.
go to New York. You guys are like...
Oh yeah, we did it. I think we went last year, and that was before this economy really settled in. And with tip around, there was 2 couples. A round of drinks was $100 with tip all day long.
And we weren't doing anything fancy. Like
Nah,
I think
it was
I
a
ordered a beer at one of the places.
$18 or $20 cocktail, and then
Yeah, that
the-
sounds about right.
yeah.
That's
just how it goes.
I don't like that logic. I don't like the round logic. I never was a fan.
of tipping.
No, the round. Well, you get this round. I'll get this round. And then because you guys really screwed me in Nashville on that one.
You
One
do
bad
it with
bachelor party?
friends you
I think that
trust.
was Chris's bachelor party.
That's where
he
I
got-
messed up.
He got hit for $600 at an airport.
Mine, I mean, okay, airport, the expenses coming. Nashville, I know it too, but I picked up one of the tabs
He
there in
got a
Nashville.
literal flyby. These people flew in,
It
took
was
his money, and then got on another
ridiculous.
plane.
They ordered from 700 miles away.
Yeah.
You're a good friend.
Literally.
Don't worry.
Did you have to pay for another round the rest of the trip?
We all chipped in. Actually, you know what? Hinch did this amazing job of calculating exactly how much everything was going to cost. So it was just like, hey, here's the deal. Like, I'm going to put everything on my card. Everybody send me. This is what I'm expecting it's going to
wanted
cost.
points.
And he wanted the points.
Yep.
But he
'Cause
was
he
like,
had trips to-
but he was
He
like,
had to
look,
go to Abu Dhabi and wanted to be able to lay down.
but he said, look, if it's less than this, I'll send it back to you. If it's more than it, I'll eat the added cost. He got it down to within $12 for like all of us, which included housing for the weekend, every meal, all the drinks, everything. He had it like down pat.
Who needs additional flight points? James Hinchcliffe. He's the big F1 guy. He literally he follows F1. If he's not in IndyCar weekend, he works for F1. So he's flying all over the world. And then they joke on the podcast. He owns a place in Indianapolis and nobody understands why, because he lives part-time in Canada and then part-time on a yacht in the Caribbean. That looks,
Taxes.
Yeah, he's well.
even better though, the boat's not his.
We
All
do-
of Tim's relatable friends.
We do make fun of him a lot.
Yeah.
It's not as bad as it sounds. Well, you got to make fun of your friends.
I mean, like his Instagram. He
I just
does
bring them
bounce
and let
around
you
a
do
lot. Yeah, he does bounce around. I mean, like, you know what though?
I wasn't trying to make fun. I was just.
If you could,
I've learned a lot about
Just-
this guy today.
It's just an observation.
you and Hinch.
Do you
might
want to
have equal number of
perform his wedding for him?
Yeah,
I hear it's imminent.
There's a wedding.
I hear it's imminent.
I've done 5,
There's a
and
wedding?
3 of them are still together.
One of them's
so-
been here.
I'm 2-0.
One of them-
I did his brother's wedding.
It was
Okay,
right
there you go.
where they're sitting.
Yeah, that was another COVID miracle.
Yep, I got to sign
Right-
the
right here
I
in
got
this room.
I was a witness.
Hinch and I do. He does a lot of weddings too, so we will compare notes. It'll be like, hey, this
I think
room
he's
went really
great at
well. It's like, hey,
weddings.
can I borrow that from you? That kind of thing.
I bet James does great. at
James
weddings.
is pretty good at weddings. The guy who did Rossi's wedding, Darcy Michael,
Oh,
the comedian,
loved
he
him.
was really good too.
I'll have James do mine. I don't know what that bill will cost, but the people, you two, would be the only ones there looking and knowing who he is at my wedding. The people in this room would be the only ones
you go.
knowing who is officiating my wedding.
The IndyCar crew. They're good wedding guests. They're a lot of fun. That was.
Oh yeah, because isn't Newgarden like infamous? Joseph Newgarden is like a great wedding guest. Like they say
he treats a wedding like this guy treats a
he
airport
has
bathroom.
he comes
Shirts off.
he comes in and he's like, I'm having a good time.
He is a good time. His wife is just awesome. They're a great couple. Yeah.
In Nashville, he knows how to party.
Needs to be 365 days to Indy. All right, Mason. I'm sorry you can't remember your social security number. Final thoughts, things we need to know. You selling things now? You got a new gig.
I took a new job.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's a big truck
I left
outside.
Kevin Potter's Stoops, so
You no longer
It's
work with my father-in-law.
no longer, and it was a joy. But I moved on to bigger and better things.
If people want to buy implements from you,
If anybody, no,
what do you sell?
I sell better.
I
If
sell
anyone wants
better.
to buy any construction or small ag equipment from the John Deere line of anything,
the green stuff.
just call me.
Need a tractor?
I
Them
need a tractor.
called man.
Yeah,
Bring it out to
in my
Cali.
tiny apartment. This is bigger
why-
than my
and the
apartment.
skid
That's why he
loader?
brought himself a green
Track loader.
Have it delivered to James's or
We'll take care of
Alex's
you.
house.
That would be funny. It would not be the first time somebody bought a vehicle for James as a joke.
Oh, I know the Marco.
yeah.
The car he got for Marco
Yeah.
was spectacular. That was great. Yeah, inside the circles of those pranks, the pranks with those groups
They've kind
are
of been
good.
slipping lately, though.
Yeah, there wasn't anything this
There's
year,
nothing
was there?
This year, no.
They've
Gotta
had
get
to-
back
they
on
filled
that.
what they filled hot tub up with those water beads.
Bees or whatever.
Yeah,
There was a lot of math involved in that one.
that was impressive
Yeah.
on Alex's part because it did how he kind of revealed that he was the one who did it. Was somebody said like, "How many was it?" And he said this.
Yeah.
It was this many. And like, how do you know that? And he just shared his Amazon purchase history. He bought like a couple 100,000 of those water beads and put them in.
I'm a big fan of any prank costing too much money. Like to me, it's funnier if they're So Marco and I have this ongoing thing where we will send each other messages through the same comedian on Cameo. And it's like $35 every time. Fred Stoller is the comedian. He's
Fred
one of those
is
like
cashing
you would
in.
know him if you saw him kind of guy.
He's found himself in the most hilarious.
He's gone up. He's gone up from $25 to $35. But it will just be like, I think the first one I sent him was, can you ask my friend Marco where he left my Apple TV remote and also tell him sorry he didn't win the Indy 500?
Oh, yes. Yes, because he has a very distinct speaking style, doesn't he?
So he didn't realize that it was actually to Marco Andretti the first time. That he's since figured it out and is aware of who we are. We keep like, when Marco's rear axle fell off in that truck race, I hired him to tell him, hey, next time don't do that. And the turnaround was like 15 minutes. Fred got the video to us.
And that's like, he's the perfect guy to give a message like that because he has a very distinct.
He was in Everybody Loves Raymond.
Yeah, he's. I've sent him
where I've seen him. Ned's.
I've seen him a good amount. He was in Dumb and Dumber. He was in the phone booth that the bad guy like punches.
Yeah, he's
him.
Definitely one of those guys that like you look him up and okay.
So he doesn't give you a discount.
No, he's
like
he's raised his rates.
A multiple user discount. Hey Fred, I'm going to Venmo you. I'm going to Venmo you $20.
He's probably bragging like I've sold so many of these.
Yeah,
play it right there right in front of your mic. We'll just run the audio live.
Gosh, how many? There's like 4 there. So they're like you said, 35 to 50. So at this point,
25. Now it's 35.
So he's $275 into this.
I know Marco and Tim and Fred Stoller. Thank you. I hate having to explain who I am. I think unless you always make a mistake. And the thing is, you guys I had fun on Cameo with, but this time I'm saying the thing I say to everyone. Marco, Tim is sorry that your rear tires fell off, and next time try to keep them on. I
You could have.
By the way, so that's 4 from me. Marco's also sent 4 back.
I was gonna say that's why he's like $300 in on this because there's responses to all of these.
Yeah,
so.
Marco had him sing the wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald ones.
Oh, man, just Dakota. That would have been content. Dakota, the other host here, would have loved because he's a big wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald guy.
I mean, who isn't?
There was,
I think I don't know if it's here now. We went to the shipwreck museum and brought back.
Yeah, we had a little model of the.
We brought back a model ship, but it was dry.
That is funny.
Is it on the table?
I don't know where
it's not. I don't see it on the table. Actually,
it's probably been stolen.
Dakota probably took it.
Final thoughts from you, Miss Sarah? Anything you wanted to ask them that's out there?
I don't think so.
All right, we'll give you a chance.
Stop! I told you it's kind of boring.
I'm just excited to go back to the state fair and have my corn dog because I didn't.
Apparently, you can get a pizza wrapped one.
I don't know if I want that.
No, that does not sound appealing.
No, yeah, I'm not sure if it would either. I wasn't in a mood to walk back to get it.
There is a corresponding like distance in line of I don't care what it is at the fair where I'm like, yeah, if it's more than if it's more than like a 15-minute wait, I'm just not kidding.
Oh, well, we got lucky.
You were at the dairy bar for way more than 15
that was a non-negotiable.
We had an ice cream stand right before we left, and we were the second person in line when we got in line, and only got 3 cones. And by the time we turned around, there were 25 people in line behind us. So we got lucky both times we stopped for food that we got in line. The line was like somewhat reasonable, but then we turned around. Evidently, we are the clog. We were holding the line up because it built up behind us a bunch. So I was thankful that we weren't stuck in that.
It was the scooter.
We sent the scooter off. The scooter was not in line.
But no, right. I don't think I have any other final thoughts for today. I think I'm good.
Fred was the pipe wrench in Handy Manny.
Never heard this in my life.
Holy cow.
All of Mason's childhood just got wrapped together.
He's available on Cameo
for $35.
I think he's cheaper than Molinaro.
I've only done 2 cameos, and they were both Tony Kanaan.
I did one.
You got Elio once, didn't you?
It was
I did. No, yeah, so Tony Kanaan and Elio. I got Elio for my aunt, and I got Tony for my wife.
I got Connor for your brother and Ashley when
oh, did you?
they got engaged.
We're trying to spread it around the paddock. That is funny. That's a great way to do a prank, and especially if they get in on it.
Yeah, and
Are you on Cameo with them?
No.
Nobody
$5.
wants to do that.
Yeah. You know, Alex would be fun on Cameo.
I didn't think Cameo was
Because
still
people
a
would
thing.
expect something out of it, but like I joke, like there are a lot of people that don't like Alex Rossi. And I'm like, he's a bit of a curmudgeon, but he's our curmudgeon. And I was like, I understand kind of why he is the way he is, and he's unapologetically he is who he is. And the fact that he and Hinch are friends is funny because their paddock personas are as far apart as possible. Like Hinch is just the nicest guy. Everybody loves Hinch. And
You've got drivers you don't like, though. I'm assuming. Like he's a noted
one.
He's noted to not like Marcus Ericsson, and he squirmed so hard last weekend.
yes, because we had a Danish guy. He's like, oh yeah, I was hanging out with Marcus, and then Jeremiah's like, yeah, Zach doesn't like Marcus. I was like,
Actively cheered against him in Indy 500 qualifying.
I lost my voice cheering against him at the qualifying.
He's a very nice guy.
I don't doubt he's a very nice guy, but they all seem to be, for the most part,
It's a sporting event.
nice.
Most of the people in the
guys.
paddock are
You got to choose winners and losers. The guy driving the 14, obviously, whatever. It's fine.
Marcus won the first Nashville GP, right?
He did.
Did he go back
after
to back?
nearly doing a wheelie
killing,
with the car?
yes.
Yeah, he did.
Over was killing somebody. Didn't he win the next weekend, or did it finish up in Nashville? I thought he did, like went back to back or something. Or he won the
I don't really
500.
follow
I don't know.
I know he won that race, and then he won the Indy 500 or something
Yeah.
later.
Like
and
the year
he's had-
after.
he has successfully turned podiums into wins, and in his
Yeah.
young
And nobody showed up to the winner's circle in Nashville when he won it.
We were there?
It was dark. It was very dark.
We were ready to leave.
But we stayed for a few
we
minutes.
said,
And
No,
we said,
no.
"All right,
I
we're getting on the
went
road."
to Victory Circle there because Hinch got third that year, right?
It was podium. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. I think it may have been his last IndyCar podium.
Yeah, that sounds right.
I think that was the last of the Gamebridge year, the tail end of it, and then he got a couple. I don't.
No,
remember.
it wasn't.
Genesis
It wasn't
Circle?
Genesis. Yes.
Yeah.
That may have been my bad. I got sat next to the CEO of Genesis on the flight home. I may have killed that deal for James.
Well, at least the solar company is still going well. You still got your solar backpack?
I do.
All right. Where do people find the book?
Amazon. It's just search Macbeth for kids on Amazon.
All right.
I would throw Tim Durham after that because there's the other one.
It's the one that looks like this, though.
But yeah, it looks like we got the one up there. But
Looks
yeah,
like
if you do
animated
Macbeth for
South Park.
kids and do Tim Durham, it'll show up.
Yeah.
But yeah,
It's
thanks.
the one with the good illustrations.
There you go.
Yeah,
Actually, the other one does look really good.
Stop selling the other book. Zach Burcham, anything else?
I've not got much. I like a good week at the fair. We had the greatest weather ever for the weekend and for the end of the week for Indiana. It was horrible last weekend and got a lot better. And then just randomly, because I find it cool, is I took a picture with my drone of the fair and got picked up by the local tourism board.
Oh,
They
nice.
shared it. So I was like,
I just thought you had a really tall ladder.
Did you send them
it
a bill?
surprises me every time.
no, but you know what? I'll tell you what they did.
That's
I've gotten
copyright
smart.
infringement.
You got a watermark on it.
They credited me, and I learned my lesson, and I watermarked my pictures, and so it's got a watermark in it.
You'll make literally tens of dollars now when the next one comes along.
Yeah, I can't make any money. I don't have my 107 license from the FAA, but I really just do it for fun. I was like, well, if my kids are going to make me go back to the car before the sun goes down, I'm going to get some sun.
What day did you take those?
Saturday night.
Oh, okay. Because Wednesday we drove past and you guys were still sitting in the car. Just
Oh yeah, I didn't have it with me, and I just thought Wednesday. I don't think it looked that Wednesday. We had to get back before it got dark because it was school night,
cool night.
and then Thursday would have been a better sunset, but had to get back because of school, and I didn't have the drone with me. So I thought, man, I need to bring this with me because I might get a killer shot tomorrow night. I did, so
No, they are going to
got
have
lucky.
next year's Moreland Fair is going to be a little different, because there's going to be a bar. So
Are they gonna have alcohol at the fair next year?
not at
Man,
that-
you sound
they've got that
real
bar
excited
open.
about that.
For a sober man, I'm amazed.
They've
No,
got
I'm
a-
just.
They've got a bar opening up right there where the old Pizza King is.
so people be able to pre-drink and head to the
Bobcats,
fair.
and we're going every
$18 a drink.
hillbilly in that.
No, I'll tell you what. You want? I bet it's $18, and you will leave not knowing what your name is. Because I bet that's because we have a couple small towns with bars in them, and you do real well there. You think that they make Newcastle look expensive, and Newcastle makes Indy look crazy, and
Yep.
none of us are looking at LA with anything other than that's my house payment.
I don't think I've ever desired to go out there. to be honest.
It's all right.
I think it's spectacular. If it wasn't for the damn airplane ride, I would go more. I think I've done 3 trips to LA so far. Something like that.
I almost did
Still
it
yet
one
to
time.
run into Thim out there, but it's fine.
You go.
We
If
run
you
into 'em
ever
everywhere
needed
else.
I got a couch with some questionable stains in your name on it.
Get to autograph
That's
it.
his-
Yeah. All right. With that, we say thank you guys very much for being a part of the show. Mason and Tim for being here. Buy the book. Buy the green tractor from Mason.
if you want.
And you need to
Mine's
push it.
cheaper.
It's true. You can buy like thousands of that book
Yeah.
for what it costs to buy a green tractor. All right. Hopefully, I'll get to party with Thim in Milwaukee, eat some cheese curds and beers. With that, I say thank you guys very much. We'll be back next week.